Hello, Steve White, Steve House 89. Well, there's been some talk about the new Superman's costume. Now, it's been a bone of contention from the very first images, and there was all this argument that, oh, you just don't know, oh, you're stupid people, you just need to understand when it's shot properly, it'll look different, and they're going to use, then it was like, no, we're going to use CGI to make it different, make it better. I'm like, how about you just design a costume in the first place that the actor can walk around in without having to augment everything? So yeah, so they failed, and this is unfortunately, I think, symptomatic of James Gunn, that this film is going to fail because the man can only do one thing. He's a one-trick pony, and Guardians of the Galaxy is his pony, because he keeps just redoing the same film. Like Suicide Squad was just trying to do that. Peacemaker was trying to do that while making fun of like superheroes in general and making them immature and adolescent and cringe and embarrassing, and it was awful. And all this shows in the fact that he couldn't manage to design a decent costume for Superman. It's pretty simple. Even like the ones from the 1940s serials and the 1950s TV series with George Reeves was better than what they've got this guy in. Because the only problem with George Reeves' outfit, and I'm talking the blue and red one for the colour seasons, not the grey one, the grey and brown one for the black and white episodes. But the only problem is his belt is too high. It's in the middle of his waist because it was the 50s. And they did the same damn thing with this guy. So he managed to get the one thing wrong that they've actually improved on by bringing the belt down a little bit. And I'm just like, how did they get this so wrong? It's so easy. Now, the reason why this is in conversation again is because they actually had one of the costumes on display for people to see, and it looks even worse on the mannequin than it does on the man. And the main problem is, I get what they were going for. The reason, because, okay, James Gunn is a stupid white guy, straight white guy, and he's like, I don't understand how a man can be attractive or sexy or masculine and strong in a way that can be admired, and we can have his body be presented in a way that's like, because I'm a straight guy, I can only objectify women, so I don't understand, I can't do this. So he couldn't just get his head around the idea of the costume looking good and the idea of it having briefs, because Superman, if you're a real Superman fan and a real superhero fan, you know that Superman has red underwear on top of his uniform. Now, they're not actually underwear. What it is back in the day when they were first designing superheroes, they based them on wrestlers, and wrestlers wore skin-tight uniforms that gave them flexibility, and they had these little decency shorts, like little trunks over them. And that's what they based the superheroes on. And that was the sort of reason that the actor came up with I think we should have them, because I think this guy would want to look safe, you know, for people, so they wouldn't be scared of this all-powerful alien. He just wears this sort of, you know, goofy wrestling outfit, or he has the big trunks and everything, and I get why they did that on one level. And how you do that was like the trunks are just longer on the side and longer in the leg, and the briefs are shorter, and bikini briefs are shorter than that. But instead of doing that, they brought it way up on the waist and down on the legs, so it does fold at different points and just look like a big diaper. And it just looks awful. And the whole, oh, it would look better in post, it would look better with CGI and everything. It doesn't. It just looks bad. And I don't know why they couldn't have just got this right. It's really simple. Now, with Henry Cavill, they ditched the underwear, but they got the overall suit to work. Now, it seemed a bit extreme, but it worked. And it certainly worked better than this. It had its own thing, but it looked good. This doesn't have its own thing, and it doesn't look good. Now, I know rights-wise, they don't want to pay the original designer, so they can't just use Superman's original costume and the original look, because they don't have to pay the person for that. They have to do their own one, but make it look better. Now, I mean, the original Superman from the serials looked fine. The Superman from the 50s TV show looked fine, except, you know, the belt was too high. Superman in the 70s looked amazing. The Superboy series just borrowed his costume. Dean Cain's costume was very spandex and a bit dark, but still looked better than Cornsweat's outfit. And Superman Returns, they had a couple of issues. The neck was too high, the briefs were too small. They sort of had a thick brief to try and minimise his package, because Lord knows you can't show a man's sexuality because that's apparently ugly or a threat or something. But it still looked good overall. It looked fine. There were a couple of little issues that were differentiated at that, 25%. Star Trek didn't invent that. but it still looked good. This costume just looks awful. There's nothing really good about it. The colours are interesting because it's lighter, because that was the only issue with the Cavill one, aside from the fact it looked like a rubber suit, skin tight rubber suit. Because he's like, oh, I don't want to look like a wet t-shirt contest. And I'm like, it's supposed to be skin tight. It's supposed to show the body. But yeah, it was a bit dark, but the colours were, dense, so it was okay. But then when they did the toy, McFarlane, they made the deep blood red kind of rusty, and then the blue sort of dull. So you can still get that stuff wrong even when they had it right in the first place. But yeah, so costume looks even worse on the mannequin. Doesn't look better in the film. And just James Gunn, I just don't have any faith in him doing a good job with this film, because he's just a one-trick pony, and the Guardians of the Galaxy was that pony, and that's it. Unless he can make that over and over again, he's got nothing else to offer.